Crystal Cruz reports this story could have had a very different and very tragic ending.
The screen was off, and sitting here in this window was open about 3 inches or so.
Tim LeBlanc happened to be up around 2 Monday morning and noticed his 12-year-old daughter's bedroom window open. She wasn't home.
I was scared to death. Everybody tells me that I'm overprotective, and apparently I'm underprotective.
Tim and his older son looked around their Nuevo neighborhood and found her nearby with a man she met on social media.
Well, he had this door open about this wide right here and had his arm around my daughter and was kind of, sweeping her in, putting her into the truck. I pulled up right here.
The dad says he used self-defense to knock the man to the ground and took this photo. Police later arrested 27-year-old Scott Stillwell from San Diego County.
He's lying to me, telling me, oh, I'm 16. And there was no way. He's obviously a grown man.
Tim says Stillwell led his daughter to believe she was chatting with a 15-year-old boy on social media.
He was talking sexually, sending pictures of himself naked.
A protective dad says his daughter isn't allowed on social media sites and says if this could happen to him, it could happen to anyone, and encourages parents to be aware.
From what I gained from my interaction with this guy, I don't think that she would have ever came home alive.
Stillwell was arrested, accused of meeting up with a child with intentions to commit a sex act, along with sending harmful matter to a minor. Reporting in Paris, I'm Crystal Cruz.
Yep, that one too.
What's up, guys? I'm Kobe Person. How easy is it for a pedophile to pick up an underage child using social media? Well, today we're going to find that out. I made a fake profile on Facebook posing as a 15-year-old boy. With the parents' permission, I friend requested 3 girls, ages 14, 13, and 12 years old. I've been talking to these girls for the last 3 or 4 days, and today we're supposed to meet up. What we found in this video is shocking and something everyone should see. Be sure to watch until the end and use what we've learned in this video to better educate your friends and family. Hope you guys enjoy the video. This first girl, her name is Michaela. She's 13 years old. We've been talking on Facebook for the last couple of days, and we're supposed to meet up at the park later when our parents leave the house. I'm just waiting right now to get the text that our parents have left the house. So I just got a text. My parents just left. I can meet at the park in 10 minutes. We're gonna go see if she comes in 10 minutes. We're gonna go right now, set up all the cameras, and just be waiting there for her. So she said she's gonna meet me at the park playground. So this is the closest to her house, she said. So right now, I'm texting her. Just got here. All right, just wait. See what she says. She said, okay, I'll be there in 5 minutes. No, she's coming again. Michaela? On Facebook.
Michaela, are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? He could have been a rapist. Could have been a pedophile. Why would you do this?
Yeah, you know that I could have been anyone. Like you talked to me for the last 4 days. You've been talking to me on Facebook. You know that, like, you shouldn't talk to strangers, especially online. Like, I wasn't even do I look the same as my picture? It could be even worse than that.
You realize how scary this could have been? We have to talk.
This next girl, her name is Juliana. She's 12 years old, and we're supposed to meet up tonight when her father falls asleep. So right now, I'm here with John, who's Juliana's father. We're going to see if she's actually going to come to the door or not. She said, this is the last text. LOL, I would have to wait till my dad falls asleep if you want to chill, as I can't have voiceover. So she wants to chill tonight, supposedly. What do you mean about that?
I don't think she's opening the door. I hope she doesn't open that door.
What's your address?
I pray she doesn't say respond to this.
Well, I can't say the address, but she just literally just texted the address. Start driving me to the address, close by. My dad's going to drop me off. All right, so she just said, I think my dad fell asleep. You can come now.
Yes.
Come outside. Come to the front door.
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? How can you do this? You're 12 years old. You're 12 years old.
Yeah.
You could have been raped and murdered. Really wants to know what are you making happen to you? What are you making happen to you? I love you. Don't you ever do this again. Don't you ever do it again.
This next girl, her name is Jenna. She's 14 years old. We've been talking online over text message and even had a phone conversation. So right now we have the parents of Jenna. Jenna thinks her parents are going out tonight for date night. She thinks my brother is going to be driving, so she's going to get in the car, but she doesn't actually know that it's all just me. So I'm going to text her right now. Did your parents leave yet? Yeah, like 15 minutes ago. Do you think she's going to go through with this?
Absolutely. I don't even believe it's happening. I'm
Okay.
not enough friends laying around.
What's your address? Is this your house?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. All right. We are here to come out. You don't think she's coming out?
She better not be coming out.
She's developing.
Yeah, please.
Yep. I see someone. Get with this. Yeah. Hop in. He's in the back. Over here.
Jenna, stop it, your mother flutter. Jenna, look, turn around. Turn around. Turn around. How could you dare go to a stranger's car?
What are you thinking? Just explain.
Give me your phone right now. Give me your phone now.
What would have happened if you came out and it wasn't us sitting back here and there were really crazy people back here?
We never want to saw you again.
We watched movies together. We looked at newspaper articles and the news that all these things are real life situations that have happened. And we've discussed them. What, you think it's fine to go try that on your own?
What happens if they would have drove away? There would have been 3 strangers sitting in this car. Huh? What would you have done? What would we have done? We didn't have our daughter.
You understand? You probably thought you were talking to 15-year-old. You didn't know what was happening. You just got it like that. You're going with everything I was saying. You understand now. You should never ever do that again. It should teach you a lesson forever. Your whole life. Make sure you guys follow me on Snapchat. You can see all the behind the scenes on every single video. With the video.
All right. Sure, that video is like an eye opener of how easy it is for you kids to just go on the internet and just randomly just talk to these people and then automatically they want to see them in bad situations. A lot of popular websites that you may be familiar with: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, WeChat, Tumblr, Qzone, Pinterest. I know about Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, but the rest of these, apparently these are like newer apps. And it's getting way easier for people to just go in the chat rooms, just start chatting with folks.
I use WhatsApp to communicate with my husband in Afghanistan.
Which one do you use?
WhatsApp. You
I've
can
never
video
heard of
chat,
that, but I
you
mean,
can text,
they're-
you can call
They're
on the phone.
coming out with new ones like almost every day. I just found out about Qzone and WeChat.
And see, and I use Pinterest whenever we have a project, school project, to get project ideas,
Yeah.
and I never.
I've never chatted with anybody on
Either.
Pinterest.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could.
It gets pretty because I tested out myself and I was like in a group chat. So I was like, of course I lied about my information, but like, oh yeah, can we meet? I just met you. I'm not meeting with you. Yeah, that easy. What you need to know about chat websites. Kids tend to create several fake profiles. Like, say for instance, they have a Facebook. And they'll create a profile where family and friends can visit. But unbeknownst to them, they end up creating a separate profile. You can create several profiles on Facebook as much as you want. And some of them, a lot of them change their age. So like, say for instance, it's like a 10-year-old girl. She'll make up her age that she's 25. And of course, you can go on Google and just Google an image and then just copy and paste and put that as your profile pic. So none of your family members will know who this person is. They'll only give you what you want to see, so they won't get in trouble. And then of course, you can have little chat rooms in Facebook. So kids can create several fake profiles separate from the one they create for family members to see. For example, a 12-year-old creates a profile for herself being 25 under a different surname. So, yeah, she can look totally different, her profile pic. Same thing with pedophiles. Also, pedophiles on social media websites tend to use fake profile pictures and usernames to contact children to get them closer. So, grown man in his 30s or 40s, 12-year-old. This is easy. I just Googled these images. Apps that are more than meets the eye. The Layer app can show the latest messages and profile pictures of Twitter users in the neighborhood, up to a 12-mile radius. The Layer app can also notify where the post was made. So for example, if you're at your house on 123 Berry Lane, if you decide to post something on Twitter, somebody who has the Layer app, it'll show you a real life image. So you know how your camera goes into a camera mode and you can like do a 360 and look around the room. It will literally show that user's profile. And all you gotta do is click it and it'll show you the address that they posted it from. That's how easy it is. Calculator Plus, and that's what I was talking about before. So I have that one on my phone actually. And it's basically an app. You can actually go to the Player App Store and you can download all the hidden apps. Most of these apps are really for people, who are cheating or whatever, and they don't want the other person to find out, what they're doing. So you can also just type in hidden apps, and I end up getting the calculator. So, and I'll show it to you. There you go. And it looks just like a regular calculator. But if you put in the code, it gives you storage to store any messages, photos, or whatever you want to. So that way no one will even know. So, like I was saying, looks like a regular calculator, but really is a cover to hide messages and pictures on any phone. To see pictures or messages hidden on the app, simply input the code on the calculator. For more hidden apps, go to the App Store on your mobile device and show hidden apps. That's how easy it is. In what ways can I protect my child? You can also use tracking devices. I'm sure you're a local provider like I have Sprint. So if I had kids, I can I want to go ahead and, track my child's phone. They'll give you some type of code or whatever, so that way you can punch it in or like an app on your own phone and you can figure out where they are. A lot of parents do that because kids tend to always have their cell phones with them. So if they're supposed to go to basketball practice, but they're over a friend's house, automatically. And then there's other ways with your cell phone provider. You can also put a time limit on your kids' usage on the phone. Say, for instance, that they come to school at 8, you want your kids' cell phone to be on till 8 a.m. till, I'll say 4 p.m. After 4 p.m., they can't use their phone unless it's for emergency contacts only or 911, and that's it. That's another way you can control your kid's phone if you want. Have your child involved in after school programs. Keep them busy constantly. After school, they can go to after school programs like basketball, football, whatever. Sometimes church hosts after school programs in your local neighborhood. I mean, I was in one. It's just to keep you busy constantly. So that way they won't tend to wander, off, like, say for instance, if you're working late at work, at least you know where they're at. That way their mind be focused on something else other than, oh, well, I want to go over here and see what's going on. It's your property, not your child's. Take it away if you need to. I'm a strong believer in that. If you don't think that your child needs their cell phone, take it. Because I run into parents constantly who say, well, it's their stuff. No, who bought it? It's yours. Take it. Speak to your child about stranger danger, number 1, and possibly take self-defense classes offered by the Coweta County Sheriff's Office for free. If you feel like they need to learn how to, defend yourself, or, in a situation of somebody's acting strange and trying to take them away, like that video earlier, shoot, they can punch them in the throat.
My daughter attended that.
I went to the one that the sheriff's department offered, and it was actually really good. It was, the one I went to was geared toward women, but it was good.
Yeah, I
Well, I attended that one, and then she and I attended the one, and it talked about dating and how to get out of situations if
they
you feel
teach you
threatened.
a lot of
very
stuff,
good.
and then it's free, so you don't have to worry about paying an arm and a leg for something. Can the internet financially affect me? Some people are unaware not only can criminals get pictures of your children online, but also can get valuable information like credit cards, ID, social security, and more. For example, gaming consoles like Xbox and PlayStation, most of the time they do require you to input a credit card, and kids don't have credit cards. So what they're gonna do, they're gonna go into your wallet, they're gonna get your credit card information. It allows the users to play with different people from around the world, and all they gotta do is use the Wi-Fi. So they can, with that credit card, what they usually do is buy, it's like, the game Fortnite. It's popular, the little kids are playing it, whatever. Fortnite knows how to use those kids to your drain financially. Like, they'll use little outfits or little game moves, and it'll cost them $5, $10, $20. And then before you know it, you get your bank statement, and then you find out you spent over $500. In one case, it was over $1,000. I can't say per se what their names were, because of course, they'll conceal it. But it was a lady, and her son had actually got her credit card. And like I said, the popular game Fortnite, he ended up buying at least $1,000 in just game merchandise, just the little moves, and like out here, the flaws or whatever the stuff that's going on. Like, the characters will actually dance, but you gotta pay $10 for it. Yeah, it's stupid. Financially continued. Children have full access to the internet, can buy products online by using parents' information, just as you already know, like Amazon or whatever, something that they feel like they want or whatever the case is. It's easy because they don't check your ID. They just want a credit card. You can buy anything on the internet. Some websites and pop-up ads are falsified to look legit to gain personal information. Case in point, there was a fraudulent website, I think it was like Windows, And then every time you try to turn on your computer, it'll say something's wrong with your computer and you need to, secure it because this and this is wrong with it. And then as soon as you press the button, it'll send you to, you have to pay for it now for them to fix it. And then as soon as you put it in, that's it. And they'll run it up. In some cases, people had their personal bank accounts hacked and emptied. I had one guy who did exactly that thing. His debit card, of course, is linked to his bank account, and then they drained the whole thing. And they can do it within like 10 minutes, 5 minutes if they're great at it. Credit cards have been used to the full amount or past limits, resulting in financial debt. Banks don't care. They want their money. And if you use it past the limit, they will punish you for it. So make sure you just, I'm not saying all kids do that, but you have to make sure you know what they're doing because a lot of this stuff looks falsified.
Just a little tangent for people that use debit cards. I don't use them because I don't like them because they're too easy to get the money stolen. If you want to use it, you can chain it to a bank account where you just keep a smaller amount of money into it. So if someone does steal your debit card and get your access information, all they're going to be able to have access is to a smaller account. So that's a strategy to use if you use a debit card. Attach it to a smaller account where you only keep, say, like $100 in or $200 in versus all your savings in. And that way they can't access all your money. They access that smaller account. Just a tangent. It's a strategy.
I mean, I'd rather lose $200 than $10,000. I mean, and then hopefully your bank's willing to work with you to recognize, okay, that wasn't you. We'll try to work through it. Hopefully get your money back. Cyberbullying definition: the use of electronic communication to bully another person, send messages or whatever the case is. Cyberbullying is the easiest way for children to pick on each other because you do not have to be face to face with that person. Case in point, all you gotta do is go on YouTube. Somebody's like talking about something random on YouTube. Scroll down, and people are saying the worst things. It could be racist. It could be talking about what they look like. It's because they're hiding behind a computer. You don't have to go up to a person anymore to bully them. You just talk about them easy. 87% of today's youth have witnessed cyberbullying. I actually went to the cafeteria and asked, hey, have you noticed cyberbullying? Just to get a point across. They're like, yeah, I see it all the time, but I don't say anything about it. I'm like, okay, does that have to deal with this school? Sometimes. But most of the time, it's just on random videos on the internet. It only took me one person to just speak to see how potent cyberbullying is. 34% of students state they have experienced cyberbullying. 15% admitted to cyberbullying others. 1 out of 3 kids feel like they are more accepted on social media networks than in real life because a lot of kids who don't get out there with other kids, they just like to be to themselves. They find comfort in the others on the internet. That's how they meet these internet friends. They may never see them, but they start to have bonds with kids that they don't even know. And then 30% of children who have been bullied have suicide thoughts. Ways to combat cyberbullying. Speak to your kids about the harmful effects of bullying. Let them know that you are the parent and reserve the right to look at their phone. If your child is the victim of bullying, block the person who is doing the bullying or delete your child's account. I mean, some people that I spoke to don't like to delete their accounts or whatever. I mean, if you can, like I said, on Facebook, you can block anybody if you need to, if they're starting to be a little outrageous, still, deleting the whole thing. But that comes into the point, reassure your child if he and she can inform you if they need to talk, if they are the victim of bullying. If they need to talk to you, don't shut them down or whatever, just at least speak to them. So that way you can get an understanding of what's a lot more. If your child's the victim of bullying, block the person who is doing the bullying. Oh, I already spoke. Good. And these are the actual websites that I got my information from for internet safety. Like I said, they talk about the cyberbullying. They talk about pedophiles that disguise themselves as young kids. They also talk about financially how it can affect you in ways that is very unexpected. And that's about it. Questions? Comments? Oh, yeah, any questions?
Very informative.
Thank
you, Officer Weems.
I know.
I was like, I hope it goes for 15 minutes.
When my daughter was even growing up, cell phones were there, but you still had the house phone more. And there was one student that would call the house and, you know. Anyway, I happened to pick up the phone one day and answered, and she thought I was my daughter, and I really heard what was being said to her. I mean, it's.
And what people like tend to forget is that you basically have a computer in your hands. It's not just a cell phone. Talk
Or
to
the
people.
house.
It's literally a device. I mean, I use this for work when I have to do reports or whatever. I use my cell phone, so it's basically a computer. Like I said, it goes over people's heads a lot about that.
My turn.
Okay, and we have.
And a lot of what's on mine has to deal with like having a family computer at home, which is now kind of not even a thing. I mean, I don't have a computer. I mean, I have a laptop, but I don't make it available for my children. So it seems that a lot of the kids these days do have the cell phones. And so parents really have to know how to deal with the cell phones more than the computer. But I'm still going to go through what I have, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to briefly show you how to block websites on your home computer, how to check browser history, and how to create a safer browsing experience for your child. Blocking websites. It's nearly impossible for us to stand over them 24/7 to see what they're doing on their phone. Or on the computer. So it's important that we put those precautions in there beforehand. So we know that there is a less chance of them getting access to the unsafe material that's out there. And there's lots of free software out there and I'm sure your ISP has access to blocking software. OpenDNS is what I came across, and there's two types, Family Shield and Home. Family Shield is just knowing the IP address and setting up the IP addresses within your internet properties. OpenDNS has already set categories up. So as long as you have those IP addresses in there, you're good. You know your computer is safe. The home version of it, it's still free, but you have to create an account. But that gives you more, more control over what is and what is not blocked, because you may want sites for your younger children blocked, but you may have older children that may need access to those sites, so you would want those sites unblocked for them. And the home version of the software does accommodate that. Canine Web Protection. This is also free blocking software. It's a free to download. You create an account, but it helps you set up categories that can be blocked. But this is a list of everything that it does. I like the internet time restriction part, because you can turn your internet off Like if your children go to bed at 8, you can turn your internet off at 8. They won't have access to Wi-Fi, nothing that involves the internet during the time restrictions that you put forth.
So you just go to k9.com?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what it's, k9protection.com. And I Googled this. And like I said, there's probably tons of other, Pinterest is an awesome resource, at least I thought it was. At least us naive people who don't know all the bad things that can happen when you use Pinterest. Browsing history, it's really important, I believe, for you to know how to check what sites your children are viewing on their cell phone and on the computer. Internet Explorer, this is how you check it. I'm actually gonna open up Internet Explorer. We're gonna see what Dr. Dix has been looking at, if she's been using Internet Explorer.
Anyway, I sent you to see it later.
But if you go up here to the little gear, and oh no, okay, it's the star for favorites, and here's the history. That's what's been used today, but that's because I just opened Internet Explorer. So that's what we've looked at today. Chrome is the big one. But if you go up to the three dots, you can't see them because it's kind of off the screen. But there's 3 dots beside the account icon. History. Here's all the history. One thing you need to remember with Chrome is it's user specific. So if each one in your house has a different account, you'll have to log into the account, your children's account, in order to view their history. But these days, kids are a lot smarter than we give them credit for, and they know how to go in and delete it. And even though I'm a techie, I don't know how to pull up deleted. Once it's gone, I don't know how to go in and find it. But there's a footprint everywhere. You can delete it, but it's not actually deleted. But I'm very curious to learn how to do that. If I had a different life, in my next life, I want to do forensic, computer forensics. Yeah, but I don't know how to do that. You know, it's just, you have to.
It's usually software that.
A lot of software, the software, the coding, there's a lot involved with that. And Safari. So you would open up Safari on your Mac, choose history, and then show off history. On the iPads, which is what a lot of the kids have now, at least mine have the iPads. All you have to do to view their history is I open Safari, and then at the bottom, well, it's at the top here. If you just click and hold the back, it pulls up the list of the websites that have. Like I held that.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's not working now. There we go. The back, Keith. Hold it down and it'll pull everything up. So it's a lot easier on the iPad than it is on the computer. And I'm gonna do more things on this towards the end on how to block and keep them from going to other places. Okay, so how is the school system keeping your child safe while they're at school? As you know, 3rd through 5th grade students have their own Chromebook. They have it 24/7. So they can basically do whatever they want on their Chromebook. They have a constant connection to the internet at all times. So how is Coweta County keeping the kids safe? And that's with GoGuardian. That's software that's pushed on to every school system Chromebook that keeps a list of what every student in this county does on their Chromebook. And they have it set up where if there's any kind of bullying vocabulary that's being used, it alerts our tech department. But this is, thought I'd just show a quick video.
The classroom is changing. It's becoming digital, more connected, offering students a whole new world of possibilities to learn and grow. And with that, a ton of distractions that make it hard to keep students on task. You could block off large portions of the internet, but that's like taking your students to the Louvre and making them stay in the lobby. There's got to be a better way. Now the team that brought you GoGuardian's world-class Chromebook security is bringing you GoGuardian for Teachers, which gives you complete control over your classroom technology. During each session, you'll know exactly what your students are doing and keep track of their activity in real time. So you can remove distractions, see what your students are working on, connect with students who need help, and directly flow your digital resources, all from a simple, easy-to-use dashboard. This is the best way to keep your students focused and engaged, while giving them the freedom to make the most of the digital classroom. GoGuardian for Teachers is designed to let you focus on teaching and help your students focus on learning. Welcome to the future of classroom management. GoGuardian for Teachers. Sign up now to get started for free. The classroom is changing.
This also works while they're at home. So even if they're connected to the wireless at their house, GoGuardian is still tracking what they're doing. So a lot of students think that it's only tracking someone here at school, but it's not. It's tracking them. If they are on their school system owned Chromebook, they are being tracked. There isn't anything that they can do that can't be found out. Okay, housing. This is just a couple things that you can do to help. And this is geared more toward elementary schools, of course. You know, you wouldn't want middle or high school students using these websites. But Kindle is like a elementary version of Google. It's got kid graphics. It's just very kid friendly, as you can see. So it already has restrictions put in place that won't bring up pornographic images or anything like that. Anything that a kid is not supposed to have access to. It already safeguards against that.
That's been out for a while, kiddo.
I guess. Yeah.
I didn't know.
I mean, this is just another example of there's plenty of resources out there to help us keep our kids safe. We just have to know where to go to find them. Enable restricted mode in YouTube. Go ahead and go to YouTube. scroll all the way down. Well, actually, I'm gonna go here to settings. And then if you scroll all the way down, restricted mode. Or turn it on or off here. But the other thing about YouTube is if you have different profiles on your computer, like say if I have a username to log onto the computer, your child has a username to log onto the computer, you would need to go into all of those profiles and turn restricted mode on. Turning it on for one will not turn it on for everybody. But if you just have one family account that you use on the computer, turning it on there would turning it off there or on, would turn it on for everybody. But another thing to take into consideration is kids are using Internet Explorer, kids are using Chrome, kids are using Firefox. You have to turn it on in all of those browsers. So you kind of have to think ahead. But it does exist, and just taking the time to sit at your computer with a list of what you need to do and doing it will help. YouTube Kids. I have 2 6-year-olds, and that's what I have on their tablets. They don't have access to YouTube. They have YouTube Kids. And that's good because it's just set up for kids. It's like that Kindle. You know, it already has safeguards in place. You can set up parental controls where you have to type, like I turn search off. They're not even allowed to search on it. They just pick videos that they find interest in. And depending on the type of video, it'll show those type of videos for them to choose from. So a lot of the times they're just looking at videos of parents showcasing toys, which I'm glad parents have time to showcase toys. But I mean, it's just silly things like that are viewing. But that's another alternative to YouTube. Right, and these are all the references, all the sites that I've used to get my my information, and it's just some extra information. And I can share this link with anybody who would like access to it. I like this one. It gives you a list of examples of categories that you need to block based on your child's age. Any questions? Another thing I wanted to show y'all, and y'all may already be aware of this, but whenever my children got a new iPad for Christmas, and I'm using my Apple ID on their iPads. So of course I've had to enter in all my information, but there are restrictions that you can put into place to keep them from accessing things on the iPad that you don't want them to have access to. And it's just in settings. And in general, if you scroll down a little bit, there's, I know it's under there because I just saw it, restrictions. You can even turn off Safari on the iPad, so you can take the internet away from them altogether. You can turn off the camera, FaceTime. You can turn off in-app purchases. You can turn off installing apps, which I learned the hard way that I forgot to enable that restriction. But you can also set up what kind of books they have access to, what kind of videos they have access to. You can turn off explicit material and it's just clean, it's G-rated. Or you can make it where they can't view any of that at all. And it's basically just a clean device for them to have in their hands. Now it's easier, you know, if mine are 6, so they don't have the knowledge at this point to try to go above and beyond the restrictions that I've put in place. But I mean, it scares me to death when they get older and the things that they learn from their peers, because these kids are resourceful and they will find a way to figure out how to get around a filter, how to get around a blocked website, because those resources are out there. And it scares me to death. It's like those videos we just watched, it makes me want to take every bit of technology out of my house. But you can't. And that's for conversations with your kids and making sure you have that open dialogue with them and they feel comfortable coming to you and saying, look, mommy, look what I saw on my tablet. And not making them embarrassed about seeing it, just having an upfront, frank conversation about it.
Yeah, I had to talk to my son who is in 5th grade because he went to a site he shouldn't have gone to in here at school. Well, he said he didn't do it. He said he went to the restroom and somebody sat at his computer and used his Chromebook. But and you know, the administrators have, once it comes up, they get a copy of what it was. So when he came around the corner, I was like, so what did you do on the internet today? And he was like, how do you know? You know, what happened or whatever. Because they never, I mean, they told me, but I said, I'll just wait till after school and talk to him about it or whatever. But anyway, I was like, you know, we've talked about, you know, we have Go Guardian. We talked about, you know, what happens. We went through all the conversation. He still to this day claims he didn't do it, but.
Well, and that's something else that we need to talk to students about is if you leave your Chromebook sitting on your desk, logged in under your username, you are basically giving other students permission to get on your Chromebook.
Right.
It is so important that if they need to leave the room, close it, sign out of it first, and then close it. Because if they open it, a lot of times it just opens up to where they were working. But they just need to sign out of it.
Yeah, we talked about
these
that.
Chromebooks are their responsibility, and even if somebody does do it, somebody else does do it, it's his Chromebook.
Right.
He was the one that was signed into it, so he's going to be the one to get in trouble.
That's what I tell them. Even on my computer, I'm like, you know, they play games and things on mine, but I said, you make sure it is school related. Don't go looking up YouTube and all of that stuff, because that's my computer. It should be on it.
Exactly. Like I said, it's a lot easier when they're young. You know, we can put the fear in them and say, we are watching you. There is
they
nothing.
Get older, they think they're smarter.
There is nothing that you can do on your computer or your tablet that we cannot find out about. But as they get older and they learn from their peers ways to get around it, that's when it gets scary.
And the sad part, they can just go Google it and look up how to
do
whatever.
That's what I'm dealing with now with he's 6th grade now, but like you say, his cousin is in classes with him now, and like I tell him, his mom probably don't care like that do or whatever, but it's like with the cell phone, like this is for family, and because he was supposed to ride the bus, but I told him this morning, every time you see him, he want to be on the cell phone in the morning playing the game.
Right.
I told him I'm just gonna shut it all down and cancel the whole plan. Cause you know, even like going out to stores, I'm telling him, you're a boy, you with your mom, even though I'm the adult, you still a man in a situation, you need to be aware of the surroundings. Something I don't catch, you probably could catch that. If you like this, you're not gonna see anything or whatever that. I think I'm just gonna cancel his plan and be done with it. You know, I'm like, it's a privilege. I could save money, and even with Fortnite, it's like